Wait, so Swedish meatballs are Swedish?
So very interesting backstory actually. The Swedish meatball, like it's so Swedish, but it has connection with the Muslims, which is
So the
crazy.
the origin of the Swedish meatballs is Muslim,
Yeah,
Islamic.
it was a halal meatball, bro. And then I don't
It's a
know,
halal meatball.
they put some pork in it and made yeah.
Bro, usually my eyes look very small. Most people think I'm Asian, but they've been like extra small lately, and it's kind of I'm like wondering why.
They're shrinking, bro.
Maybe I'm smiling too much. Alhamdulillah.
Where are you from, by the way? Are you Egyptian? Do you have
Egypt
Egypt?
originally.
Yeah, I knew that, bro. I could see.
Egyptians have small eyes, right?
No, but some Egyptian, like the thing is, it's like a certain look. I was not sure about you because it was like it's either something Asia, something or Egypt because I've lived there, so you know.
That's funny, man. Yeah.
Alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah.
All right.
Simon, what's your last name, man? Do you
Mine,
keep that private?
no, it's I don't think like I think it's out there somewhere, right? Online. My whole life is out there. My last name is Wallgren. That's how you
Waldron.
pronounce
Okay,
it in English. Yeah.
that explains the email. Okay. Simon Wallgren, man. Simon says squat. Thank you so much for joining the podcast.
Now I look forward to this, bro. I'm ready. I'm excited. I'm not. We talked a little bit about the question before, but you know, you never know what's gonna happen. You know, when you have a Swedish guy and an Egyptian guy in one room, bro, it can go, it can go crazy.
Inshallah. Let's see. Let's see.
Yeah.
Simon, so I'm curious, man. What made you decide to why working out? Out of everything, what was so important to you about working out that you decided to dedicate your life to it?
That's a good question. Thing is, my answer is gonna be very like, you know, it's not gonna be good. The thing is, I started working out long before I became a Muslim. We're talking about the gym right now. Being active is something I've always been. I did a lot of skateboarding in the past when I was younger, um, and then some parkour, if you know what that is, like climbing like a madman on buildings.
Like The
It's
Office?
like yeah, no. I don't know. Yeah, you have it in US, bro. You know when you like you jumping around and outside, you climb buildings, you jump like Assassin's Creed and everything, right? That's
Right.
parkour.
You used to
So I
do
did a
that?
lot of those. Yeah, not you know not the extreme ones where you like in Sweden we don't have tall buildings, alhamdulillah, so it's all good. But yeah, I mean, I was active, and then you know when you get more conscious about your body, when you get into the teenage teenage years, I was like, I want to look good. I want to look good for the opposite gender.
Mm.
I I had friends. They said, "Come, bro, we let's go to the gym. Let's work out." So that's how it started. Honestly, like I was feeling very insecure about myself growing up for a long time, and obviously now when I realize it wasn't about their parents. It was I was lacking iman in my heart. That was that was it. But you know, I tried to fill it with you know working out kind of a thing. If that makes
Iman is
sense.
faith, by the way. So you were lacking faith in your heart.
Exactly. I was lacking faith. I grew up as an atheist, you know,
Mm.
as a yeah non-believer, you know, not believing in anything really.
Our intentions, even if we start off with the wrong intention, as we grow, we can improve our intention and change it.
Exactly.
What would you say is your intention now as to why fitness is still a part of your life?
Yeah. No, that's really interesting. I was about to say that the reason or the intention of working out has really changed. Obviously, like if you do it for you know very shallow reasons, I mean it's okay to I think you can have multiple reasons for doing something. It doesn't have to be one ultimate, you know, really deep you know, philosophical reason. Just as long as it aligns with your values. My values are really becoming a better version of myself than I was yesterday, kind of thing. And it's not. What's funny with that is it's not about okay, I'm going to work out and grow my biceps. That's not what I mean when I want to become a better version. I basically want to prove to myself that I had the discipline. Even if I don't want to, I do it anyways. Because I don't go after my feelings. As a man, I do what I have to do, not what I feel like doing, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And every day, every day I can counter that. Every day I can live my life the way I need to live it, instead of the way I want to feel, like what I feel like, being in a comfortable zone. That's every day I can do that and oppose that. That's when I'm feeling I'm becoming a better version of myself every day. It's not perfect, but that is like the ultimate thing why I'm working out at all.
We live in a world today where there's a lot of Muslims that are being oppressed around the world. Will Allah hold us accountable for not standing up and not fighting for the cause of Muslims that are being oppressed around the world? And can something like fitness be an excuse for us to be able to stand in front of Allah and say, "Ya Allah, oh God, I did not go physically fight, but I had the intention of staying physically fit and capable and exercising my body, so that if and when or a time comes that I have to stand up, that I have to fight in your cause, in your way, that I'm capable of doing so." And that may be a way of saving us from that question of Allah, that why, when you saw Muslims being oppressed around the world, did you not go? And we can answer and say, Allah, I did not go, but I kept my body physically able, so that if it ever was the reality for me to go, I could. What do you think of that?
It's no, it's a very interesting thing to think about. Now, obviously, I'm not a sheikh, so I cannot answer in an Islamic way. But I know that when it comes to worship in Islam, when when I talk with non-Muslims, like I have my whole family's like non-Muslims, right? So when I talk about worship with them, they have this thought or this perceived, thought about worship being that you're praying to God in a mosque or in a church or whatever, right? That's worship. But in Islam, it's so much broader, right? You talk a lot about worship being every action that is ordered by Allah and or His Prophet, and every action that Allah loves. So, it's quite a broad term. So when you look at, for example, the hadith about us being, we will be held responsible of the 5 things before the 5, right? As the Prophet ﷺ said, and one of them being our health before our sickness, right? And just thinking about that aspect suddenly turns the whole fitness thing into a worship. Because we know, in fact, that taking care of your body, taking care of your diet, taking care of your physical health, your performance, your heart, everything will make you more resilient when it comes to diseases or sicknesses, chronic illnesses, right? So just that, I think, talking like if you go one step further, like you said, all right, you will have the capacity to fight if that is needed. But at the end of the day, you might not have to go that far, if that makes sense. And
So in your life, because you've been exercising for a long time, mashallah, and you've been a Muslim for how many years now?
6.5 years now.
6.5. What has your reflection been between the mentality that Islam ensues in you and the mentality that exercise brings out of you? And have you found any correlation between the demand for both?
Yeah, definitely. And I think we live in a day and age where it has become, a comfortable life is something to strive for. Passive income, right? Working from home, all of these things, like we are creating a generation that is gonna have a rough awakening on, what it means to actually achieve things. And I'm one of them. I've lived a long period of my life as an atheist, hedonistic atheist, which means hedonism being the ideology where you strive for ultimate pleasure, right? That's happiness. You should be happy. That's the goal. And I think happiness is not the goal, right? Being a better version of yourself, accomplishments is the goal. Striving is the goal, right? As you said, becoming more valuable requires you to be put under pressure by life, by dunya. All the trials that happens, that Allah puts you through and makes you stronger because of it. You're making dua, you're making supplication, you're supplicating for Allah to make you more patient, to give you sabr. It's not a button you switch on. It's something you need to go through. Something you need to learn, how to be patient. You need to acquire that skill in that situation where it is required from you. Same thing with fitness, right? If you want a six-pack ab, if everyone would have six-pack abs, it would be worthless. No one would care. But now it's difficult to get, especially in this day and age. Because what does it, people realize that when something's hard to get, they know what this person have to go through to get it. So then when they see someone who is athletic, who has a muscular body or has a six-pack, they know already. You don't have to know anything about fitness. They know already this person is disciplined. They can they can pick out qualities from this person. Qualities that are, invaluable, basically. So
I wanted to ask you, since you mentioned it, that you're originally Swedish, and you lived in Sweden, and you moved to Dubai. So not only did you change your religion, mashallah, but you went to a completely different culture, you went to a completely different language, religions, lifestyle, everything. What is life like as a Swedish man living in Dubai? Food, lifestyle, culture, all of it.
Yeah, so obviously, Dubai is a very multicultural hub where, I got I got 10 minutes from a restaurant, a pizzeria that serves Swedish pizza. The guy is Swedish. So it's crazy, right? And I got IKEA 5 minutes away. So if I want my Swedish meatballs, I can get them and they will be halal.
Wait, so Swedish meatballs are Swedish? That's an ignorant question, I know, but we call French fries for I don't even know if that's French, But keep going.
Yeah, that's true. No, yeah, Swedish meatball, So the thing is, there's a whole backstory, very interesting backstory actually. If you allow me to go on, go on this tangent, it's very interesting. So Sweden was for a long time a very poor country, and if we go back a couple of centuries, right? Very poor country. It was not a united country. It was tribes, even when you go back to the Vikings, it wasn't like one country. It was tribes everywhere fighting each other. And then a couple hundred years ago, now obviously some people with more knowledge in history gonna probably cringe, but I'm gonna just address what I know. So meatballs was never Swedish from the beginning. It was actually Turkish. And how it got to Sweden is very interesting, because one of the kings of Sweden, he got exiled from Sweden, right? It was a big fight going on, right? He was sent to Turkey to be exiled over there. So he lived there for a couple of years. And in Turkey, they have this kofta, these meat thingies, right? You call it kofta, I think.
Yeah.
So it's like meatballs, very similar to meatballs. So when this Swedish king came back to Sweden after being exiled, he brought this, these kofta to Sweden. And the Turkish people like since he'd been living there for years, like borrowing money basically because he had no money, obviously. So they had to borrow him money to pay for everything, and so they wanted to make sure that the debt was being repaid by him. So a bunch of people from the Ottoman Empire, they followed him to Sweden, and in Sweden we had a law, whereas if you were not Christian in the same Christianity that Sweden was, you will be executed. It doesn't matter if you come from outside or not. So that was the first time Sweden actually changed the law of the land to allow other religions to live.
To bring
and this is how the Swedes
bring in the meatballs.
Yeah, to bring in Muslims. The first people of another religion that came to Sweden were from the Ottoman Empire, the Muslims, and the meatballs.
No way.
That's how. And these, subhanallah, these Turkish people, they lived, they stayed in Sweden and they lived there. So they are actually, Swedish people have the ancestry from the Ottoman Empire, and they created mosque, from Swedish timber houses. It was, it's a whole story. Like when I found about it, I was like, wow, we got the Swedish meatball, like it's so Swedish, but it has connection with the Muslims, which is crazy.
The origin of the Swedish meatballs is Muslim.
It was a halal meatball, bro. And then I don't know, they put some pork in it and made.
Do Swedish people know about this story?
I doubt it. Actually, what I got it from a Swedish friend of mine. He studied in the Islamic University in Medina in Saudi Arabia. He got a PhD and everything. And he's a Swedish revert as well. So he's very, he did his PhD on atheism and other ideologies, but mainly atheism, because it's so, how would say it? It's like the main ideology in Sweden, like atheism. And so he wanted to study it. Where did it come from? And he studied a lot of history. So I remember he had a lecture about this. I was like so blown away. I was like, bro.
Do you know why? Is that something you're comfortable answering? Why is it that Swedish people are atheist or secular?
Right. So I still remember the first question, though, like the difference between Dubai and Sweden. But this is very interesting. Atheism in Sweden has grown a lot because I think in Sweden is a very different country from the rest of Europe, because we have a strong relationship with socialism. And during the 70s, or during the whole 20th century, there was a whole secular movement growing, coming up about when it comes to they call it individualism. So the individual is more important than the society, which is kind of contradicting when it comes to socialism, right? Because socialism is very, community based, government taking care of us. And I think through that, religion, this started a very long time ago, that religion was separated from the state, obviously, but it became more so with this movement of everyone's their own individual, you can think whatever you want, you can be whatever you want, right? And it started very early in the 70s, right? And there's a very interesting documentary about this. They're called The Swedish Theory of Love. Why Sweden is one of the most loneliest countries in the world. It's top, I think the loneliest, if I'm not mistaken. And it's because of this movement that came about in Sweden that were very unique for Sweden. So you had this era, which I think Sweden still rides that reputation and still try to have that as, because you think about Sweden, I've heard many people, oh, it's a free country, it's so beautiful, everyone's happy, it's a fairy tale. And I think during the 70s, 80s, when after all the world wars and, Europe and everything, it became very rich suddenly and created a very beautiful welfare system where everyone was taken care of. But what happened was people starting to rely on the state, on the government, and stop taking care of each other, stopped taking care of their families, and started to moving out from the countryside into the cities. Now in Sweden, for example, over 50% of households are single households, just one person living in them, and I was one of them. Like like people have
Over
been to Sweden.
50%?
Yeah, imagine the
Crazy
whole half of the population living by themselves. Crazy. Yeah. So this documentary like goes through everything. Why did it happen? What's the consequences of this? And I think this is what gave atheism a big, big like an environment to grow in.
Now, give us a correlation between that and living in Dubai.
All right. So I would say the first Muslim country I went to after I became a Muslim was actually Egypt. I lived in Egypt for a while. Well, representing, man.
Let's go.
So I was there for 8 months learning Arabic and reading the Quran, Tajweed and everything. That was a whole, like, it was like taking Sweden and doing turning it upside down. Like,
It is.
you go to Sweden, you see no people, no one want to talk to you. It's cold. It's, organized. Everyone's like quiet. You go to Egypt, it's hot. People wanna speak with you. They're very social. It's like in the Arabic. I always describe Egypt like it's a beautiful folba, like a beautiful chaos. I don't know how otherwise I would describe it. It's very like, yeah, it's a beautiful chaos. And Sweden is like boring structure, like a boring. Organized system. Have you heard about SwedenGate? Have you heard about that thing? That's a whole. All right. There's a lot of tangent we can go into because the thing is, I want to describe where I come from, right? In all fairness, because I think people don't realize how different life is in Europe, especially Sweden, and it's very sad in a way. Like SwedenGate is one of the very sad cultural things. Whereas, listen to this. I'm going to describe it. Imagine you and me, we're kids, right? 10 years old. I invite you to my house. We play some Xbox, PlayStation, whatever you like, right? And then suddenly it's time for food, dinner. So I tell you, okay, Mahmoud, right? Yeah, Mahmoud, stay in the room. I'm just going to go eat. Now, you're getting nothing of the food, bro. I'm sorry. You're going to smell the food. You're going to hear us eating, having fun in the dining room. But you're going to be in the room and wait for me. Right? And you might be hungry because we played all day. But that's how it is. And that's SwedenGate.
What? So why is it called SwedenGate? Okay, so if you have a guest over, the guest doesn't eat with you.
Yeah.
That's an insane thing for me as an Arab to hear, or as a Muslim
Exactly.
to hear.
I know. And why it's called SwedenGate is because this has been for decades, bro. But
This is
recently
still a thing?
came, yeah. I mean, it recently came out because Watergate, right? The whole Watergate incident, like some whistleblowers and everything. So it's like people coming from outside, a lot of immigrants, they noticed this, and it was like the whole thing, and that they called it SwedenGate. You can Google it. So yeah, that's where I came from. So coming to first Egypt was like opposite, but I really liked it somehow. I really loved the energy. You can see the most poorest person having the biggest smile, whereas in Sweden you can see a rich businessman, bro. His face, it looks like he's done, bro. He's so done with life. And the thing is, when I came to Actually, the reason why I came to Dubai was I just recently got married with my wife, alhamdulillah. And this was the time when the lockdown was happening, right? The whole shebang, right? So we wanted to go and travel, but there were no countries to travel to, except one in our case, which was the United Arab Emirates, specifically Dubai. So we thought like, okay, let's go. We heard a lot about we thought yeah, Dubai, but is it really Muslim, like Islamic? Is a lot of tourism, but let's go. Let's find out. We went there, bro. I was positively surprised, both me and my wife. the beautiful, like it's it's such a beautiful mix between dunya and akhirah, the worldly life and the hereafter. You go in the biggest mall in the world, but when it's time for prayer, you hear the adhan, and you see all people going and pray, right? You see these big amazing buildings, businessmen, but when it's time for prayer, bro, you're gonna stand next to that businessman. He might be a billionaire, and he's standing next to a cleaner, but that's the way it is. So it was so beautiful, and I think I was so astonished because I always thought like, oh, Muslim countries is like, you know, it's not clean. It's, there's no structure. There's nothing, right? It's just upside down, and it's very hard and poor. But when I came to Dubai, it was like, wait, like it was like I was time traveling. I was ahead for like traveling, forward in time, like with like 50 years. I felt like I was in future, and still Islam was there, like a big core element to it. So every time now when I go back to Sweden, I feel ashamed. Like I thought that we Swedish people, we had a nice structure with everything. We were like, having this system, but Dubai is a whole different level, bro. Whole different level.
Now, how'd
Yeah,
you get
I know.
accommodated to the language and the culture and all that?
So obviously I learned Arabic in Egypt, right? But the funny thing is, Arabic is not the main language here. English is the main language.
What?
English and probably Urdu, and Arabic is like far down the list, bro. Like
No
you don't
way.
need to know Arabic. Yeah, you don't have to. Like in many places, it's even like you have to know English rather than Arabic, right? So that's the crazy part, which is kind of annoying if you want to learn Arabic. It's not the greatest country to go and learn Arabic because people don't, unless you meet an Arab. But at least in my case, when I say talk with them in Arabic, they always respond in English because they want to learn English. So yeah, that's
That
annoying.
explains so much, man. My brother-in-laws are from Dubai, born and raised, and they only speak to me in English. I'm
Yeah,
like,
that's why.
let's talk in Arabic.
Yeah, that's how. Yeah, the whole school system, everything is in English because they were very quick realizing like back in the days, like, okay, English is going to be a big, like, main language when it comes to business and everything. So obviously, Dubai is like a business hub, you know. So
So
yeah,
what
that's
about
how it
health
is.
and what about health and lifestyle and mental health? Can you give us a contrast between Dubai and Sweden? I think you gave us a little bit there too.
I would say honestly, and this might shock you, Sweden is much way ahead when it comes to mental health. You
Oh,
still in Dubai, it's still an Arab country, and mental health often when you see in those countries is non-existent. Like you don't talk about mental health, you talk about low iman. Like you don't have enough
but
faith,
can I
right?
ask you something? Is it as
Yeah,
needed to be talked about in these Arab countries? Is it as big of
that's
an issue?
that's the thing. I've been thinking about it as well. Like I think probably because Sweden is so good at talking about mental health because everyone's suffering, you know.
Yeah.
Like, but I think like 70% of the population is doing some kind of medication. Like it's a big number, big number, and that's why like we are way ahead. But I think it's gone so far that like obviously if you don't have God in your life, it doesn't matter what kind of medication you take. It doesn't matter what kind of you know therapy you do. It's still gonna be this emptiness. You gotta fill it somehow. And I think here in these countries, what happens is I think people don't realize that I've seen many people, like many of my clients as well, they come from the Gulfs and they feel so far away from Allah because they grew up in a society where they kind of, prioritize English instead of Arabic. That's number one, you know. And if you don't put a lot of effort, if your parent don't put a lot of effort in this, it's gonna be, hard for you to learn Arabic fluently, like you said with your what you said, like brother-in-law, right? Yeah,
Yeah.
it's just going to be very hard for you to. It's going to be natural, like English going to be your first language, basically. And learning more about the religion is going to be much harder because you need to rely on translation. You need to rely on like a whole different language. And I think with that, people come far away from the religion sometimes and don't realize that the pain they feel is not because mental health, it's because they're far away from the religion. And this doesn't mean that mental health issues is not a real thing. I believe that people struggle with it, but I think it's just the framing. I think it's all about framing yourself. Like, look at it. Like, to be honest, bro, like the companions of the Prophet ﷺ and the life they lived, difficulties they went through. Can you even compare that with what difficulties we go through? Like, you can't. You can't, bro. Like, like you wouldn't expect for you to be killed, like going out and you're gonna be ambushed by someone. It's not a thing anymore. Our problems have become so superficial and so shallow, and I think that had made us weak. Like we said in the beginning, we are so comfortable and just want comfort. We are looking for comfort instead of looking for improving ourselves. And I've seen this. Like when I lived in Sweden, I went to therapy. I went through all of these things. Like a Swedish guy, everyone does it. It wasn't weird. It didn't fix anything. Like it was just, okay, it helped a little bit. It didn't help. And then I became a Muslim. I was so having hard time to kind of put two and two together. Like, how should I live as a Muslim? And, tawakkul, like relying on Allah and all these things, like so new phenomenon. Like I didn't understand it. But the more I understood it, the more the mental health went away. Oddly enough, right? And I think we all feel depressed sometimes. It's a different feeling depressed and being depressed. Identifying with the feeling. Because when you identify the feeling, you are surrendering yourself to the feeling, and that's it. And I think I went on a very long tangent, but yeah.
That's why you're here. You're meant to go on tangents. Alhamdulillah.
Yeah.
So
But yeah, life in Dubai is great, bro. It's
life
great.
in It's like, what is that? Habibi, come to Dubai. Something
Yeah.
like that. I forget what it's from.
Yeah, it's from the video. I know which video you're talking about. You get fat and
video,
you get
right?
lazy. Yeah, from TikTok. I think it's like was a trend. Like, have you come to Dubai and then you get these flashy cars and everything, like flashy life. But that's not like everyone who has been to Dubai, not as a tourist, they know that this is not like this is a small part of Dubai, right? It's like Hollywood. Oh, I'm gonna go to Hollywood and be, I'm gonna meet Brad Pitt and everything. Like, no, well, it's not like in the movies.
You're gonna meet some liberals in a coffee shop when you get to Hollywood. That's what you're gonna meet.
Allah was that.
So
Yeah.
your Muslim morning. What's a Muslim guy's morning routine or a Muslim person's morning routine living in Dubai? What's yours?
So, yeah, I read this question before. I was like, well, I'm gonna have the most boring answer ever. I don't believe in morning routines.
What?
Yeah,
Okay, go ahead.
I hate morning routines. I hate them, bro, so much that I cringe every time people talk about morning routines. The reason is, I think we have in the West inflated. You would look at these successful people and we think that's the problem. We want to create a simple reason why people are successful. Oh, it's because he has this amazing morning routine. He wakes up 4 a.m., meditates for 3 hours, and do a handstand push-ups, and ice bath, and I don't know what. Where it all boils down to that these people are just working hard, bro. That's it. They're working hard. Working more than you. They are not complaining. They're not using excuses. They're just working. And I think using things like successful morning routine, it takes away, like it distracts people from the real, the real reason why people get better. Like it's like fitness. Like, oh, he's buff and all that because of steroids. They want to find an easy solution. Or because he doesn't, his genetics or whatever. At the end of the day, if you look at even people taking steroids, I would not recommend it, by the way. Don't take steroids. Stupid. But people that do, they work really hard. They work harder than, like, if you look at how their life is, it's all centrated, like, with fitness. Like, fitness is their life. Like, everything they eat, breathe, and walk, like, the way they walk is fitness. So I think So that's my short, like
So you don't take
my
steroids.
I don't take steroids, alhamdulillah. I
That
mean,
was a
if I would
question
take
I
a
actually
steroid,
had down. So
okay, nice. No, I've never taken steroids, alhamdulillah. I don't want to take steroids. I've have a lot of friends that have taken it, and I've seen the backside of it. It's not beautiful. Like, it's you're ruining your life forever. Your body loses its ability to produce testosterone. So that if you stop taking it, that's why like people don't talk about this. Like Ronnie Coleman talk about like the dark side of bodybuilding. Do you know how many people commit suicide? Like how many bodybuilders commit suicide? Like the average life length of a bodybuilder is like 40. That's like that's his maximum.
what?
Like it's crazy. Yeah,
I
it's
didn't know
crazy. Like
this.
there are a bunch of studies on this, whereas many bodybuilders at the age of 40 they die, unknown reasons, heart something. A bunch of them, bro. A bunch of them. It's like, and people don't talk a lot about this, and it's just because they're abusing steroids. They're abusing these things. They're putting like, bro, you're putting something in your body like that. That should be a warning signal. You alarm. You know, all the sirens should go full like emergency mode right away, right? Alert. So
You know that? Oh, go ahead.
yeah. No, yeah, go with your thing, and I'll go with the morning routine because I actually, even though I think like I don't like morning routines, I don't believe in them. I actually do some things in the morning. But yeah, go ahead.
Then go ahead. Go ahead. Tell me the morning routine.
Okay, so as a Muslim, I believe the best morning routine is what we find in the Sunnah, in the prophetic Sunnah. So waking up before Fajr, before Adhan ul Fajr, before the call to prayer, and pray something called tahajjud, the night prayer, even though it's just the 3 rakat, the 3 units of prayer, and it takes like 5 minutes. That should be like the days, like when you've done it, those days you've done it, the days is just amazing, right? And you can have this close relationship with your Lord, with your Creator. He goes down to the lowest of heavens and says that whoever calls upon me, I will answer. Whoever asks me forgiveness, I will forgive him. Whoever asks me of something, I will give him. Like just that is amazing in itself. So that's the first thing. And then Adhan al-Fajr, you prayed the 2 sunnah before Fajr, you head to the mosque, maybe you read some Quran because it's like 25 minutes between the call to prayer to actually praying. So you can maybe read some Quran or do something. And then you pray in the mosque, you come home and read more Quran or do something up until sunset because this is a blessed time. The time between after praying Fajr up until sunset is a blessed time. So whatever you have, whatever difficulty you have, let's say your business is not going well. Let's say, for me, a content creator, right? Do your scripts, write scripts, or do some content, like ideas, create ideas during this time. If you're struggling with what could it be? Like if you're struggling with the Quran, you want to memorize the Quran, put the memorization there.
Finding a wife
Right.
or a
Yeah,
husband.
I mean, I don't know how you would do it practically before sunset, for sunrise, but
No,
it could
no,
be
like making
like,
dua, making dua.
yeah, okay.
Just knocking on doors.
Like before sunrise. No, yeah. So this is a blessed time. That is something I think, and doing the morning adhkar, obviously. Like that is something we should always do because it is proven. We have we have hadith about it that like it will improve your life,
Yeah.
like without a doubt. But when it comes to morning routines, why I don't like them is because you are relying on something that is not proven in the Quran and the Sunnah, but you are making it as a means for you to continue your day. So, for example, let's say you have meditation. You're going to meditate for 10 minutes. That's your morning routine. If you don't do it, you're going to be upset, for example. Why do you make this thing have so much power over you that it ruins your day? Right? And we all been through this like, oh, I didn't have time to do my 3-hour meditation or whatever it is. So I think you should always prioritize what's important in your life at all times.
how do you get over for someone that's trying to get into it? I think one of the biggest things is uh gym, like anything else, like reading and so on, it's just starting. How do you get through that mental blockade, that mental block of getting to the gym, of starting? People always say, I'll start tomorrow. Oh, my diet starts tomorrow. How does
Mm.
someone successfully beat that?
Yeah, I think that excuse of saying starting tomorrow is just a way for you to escape that you actually need to start today. Like you need to realize that. I think people just need to realize that your brain is working against you because it wants to be comfortable. It's something called in biology homeostasis. It wants to maintain the homeostasis, which is the status quo. It doesn't want to change. It's uncomfortable to change. That's why it's uncomfortable to change. It's much easier, it's much more efficient to maintain something than to change something, energy wise. Because if you look at a cell, an organism, what it does, the only thing it's going to do is preserve energy. That's the main, because energy is equal survival. Energy
Mm,
equals survival. So all it need to do is to maintain it. So that's why when we have like that's why we tend to go into laziness. We tend to go into comfort because that is actually something we want, like in our like instinctively, because it is survival. Like if you look at it from an energy preserving perspective, not running around like a madman, it preserves energy, right? Laying in the couch preserves a lot of energy. Have a lot of fat is good. Preserve energy. Gonna help you to survive those periods where you might have to starve. The problem is we don't get that part of starving. We don't live that life anymore. In this, many people do, unfortunately. May Allah help them. There's a lot of starvation going on. I mean, in general, in the modern world, starvation is not a issue of lack of resources. It's a political issue often, right? But back in those days when it in fact was a lack of resources, the body has to. Oh, did you hear that? No,
yeah, yeah.
it's my neighbor's kids. They're like crazy when they run outside of the. Alhamdulillah.
Arabs, man.
Yeah, I don't even think they're Arabs, bro. I live in a community where it's like really mixed, so we got all the different people. So alhamdulillah, it's good. No, so the first thing I would really recommend people is to realize that your brain is working against you. So any excuse that pops up is not in your favor. That's it. You not realize that, it's going to be much easier. I promise you. Now we can talk about when you realize that. Then we can talk about okay, how are you supposed to do it? How should you, in the best way possible, counteract the brain, counteract the system, the homeostasis? There are a bunch of different ways of doing it. For example, make it easy for yourself. Like in the coaching I do, we talk about diet, workout, and habits. Habits is probably one of the most important parts when I work with my clients, creating habits. And I use the 1% approach that I call it, which means create small habits that over time together create big results, produces great results. What this does is it's tricking your brain into thinking that you're not really doing anything, so it's good. But actually, what you're doing is compounding over time. So, for example, if we put it into perspective, you have a goal to work out, but don't start there, right? Create the habit of packing your gym bag. That's it. That's all you need to
Mm.
do. Yeah, that's all you need to do. Don't even think about anything else. Just pack your gym bag, put it in at the door, and don't even think about working out. That should be the habit you create for a week, right? It might sound weird, but like why? Because this is going to be the first obstacle for your brain. But now you're going to integrate it into your life, so it's not it's not a threat to the homeostasis we're talking about, right? And then what you
What's
do,
interesting? Oh, go ahead.
yeah,
I thought you were
yeah,
done.
there are a
I thought
bunch,
you were
bro.
done your
There's a bunch
thought.
of, bro. I got much more, bro. I
Go
can talk
ahead. Go
about this
ahead.
for hours. The next step should be the week after you take the bag, you put your running shoes, your workout clothes on, whatever. You go outside the door and then you go in again. You don't even go like out and in and out. That's it. And then you go about your day. The next step should be actually going to the gym, enter the gym and go out. The next step should be doing one exercise. You're at least there, right? You can do one exercise. And that's how you now you created a very you're going to notice when you do this, your brain is not going to do anything about it. It doesn't realize, because it's such a small habit, it doesn't realize it's a change, right? So that's the beautiful part with the 1% approach.
I think what you're saying is profound, because I know a person. I heard a story where he lost 200 pounds, and the way he did it was exactly that. He went to the gym for 5 minutes for a month, and then that created just a habit of going. That's the blockade right there. Is the going. The blockade is the sitting down and opening a book and reading. But once you're reading, you're fine. Once you're at the gym and working out, you're fine. That's not the issue. It's everything that precedes that.
Exactly.
So I think that's incredible.
Because that's the thing, like for me, for example, like if we compare with a person that untrained, have never gone to the gym, like for me, not going to the gym creates, because that's my think of it like the homeostasis I talked about, the status quo. My body has realized that working out is, the default. So if I don't go, I become very uncomfortable. Like if I go for certain days, if it goes a couple of days, I don't go to the gym, I feel extremely uncomfortable. Like something is going on, I feel off. That's the same feeling the person that never gone to the gym feel when he goes to the gym. It's all about how much of a threat is the change to your body's homeostasis is trying to create and uphold. So you just need to, be tricky about it, and go around it, create a workaround kind of a thing.
Have you ever invented your own exercise? Is there an exercise that you think is unique to you? I don't know why that made you laugh, but that must be interesting then.
No, I'm trying to think of it. Like, to be honest, like, have I invented an exercise? Very interesting, bro. Um, like, I don't think I've invented an exercise. I think what I've done is I really love minimalism. So I think it's like the way I design my workouts is very, not unique, I wouldn't say, but it's very contrary to the whole fitness world. And I think I'm very contrary to the fitness world when it comes to everything with dieting, with working out, because, like the other day I had a big pizza, like, and I drink, okay, this is zero sugar, but I enjoy things, right? I don't care. Like, I don't think that is the goal, to care all about that. Like, live your life and enjoy life in a balanced way, in the Islamic way. Be balanced about it. Don't be extreme to either one of the sides, right? Left or right. So, for example, with exercises, I really love to challenge myself to make it as simple as possible. How can I make this workout so simple? Like, for example, I don't work out arms. I don't work out arms. I've started doing it because I think it's fun. But for like 3 years straight, I have never worked out arms. Because
That's interesting you said that. For the first 5 years of working out, I never worked out arms either. You don't need to. They
yeah,
come with the other full body
exactly,
workouts.
exactly. Like if you look at it, pull-ups activate arms, the biceps, just as much as a bicep curl. But you get the benefits of working out your upper back. So you save time. So that's why I really love to work with how would you call it? In synergy, with movements that, you have one purpose, but you can kind of, smash two flies with one rock, or how you say it in English. I'm not sure, but
Two
yeah,
birds with
you
one
get
stone.
okay. We we say that in Swedish with the flies. So okay, you got
Yeah.
birds. How do you kill two birds with one stone, bro? Oh, you
I,
gotta
you
throw it.
know,
Okay, yeah, okay, I get it.
but honestly, the flies make more sense. That's more of your
Right?
daily life kind of thing, right?
When do you want to kill birds? Like flies is like, okay, I want to smash the flies, right?
Yeah, no, I like the Swedish one more.
Yeah, bro. Meatballs
Full
and
body
flies,
work.
bro.
So basically, it's you're talking about optimizing your workouts. Like full body workouts, I think are the best way to optimize your workouts. What supplements do you take? Do you take any supplements?
Um, I'm very bad at taking supplements, to be honest. I'm telling you, I'm very contrary to, I have protein powder, I have creatine, but it's like creatine. I like, okay, so if someone asks me, should I take supplements? I would say at the beginning, no, because you want to create a healthy relationship with food. You want to make sure that the food you're eating is sufficient. When you come to that level, then you can add things. It's like when someone doesn't pray. You don't tell him, okay, go pray 5 prayers and all the sunnah and tahajjud you say start praying at least one compulsory prayer. Start with Fajr or Isha or whatever, and then build up from there. I'm using the same principle just with working out, with the fitness. Like if someone comes to me, should I start supplementing? I ask them, okay, how long have you been working out? How long have you been doing this diet for? I haven't even started. Okay, don't think about supplements, bro. Like you haven't created the consistency, right? So that's what I like. Those things resonates with me. But there's only 3 supplements you need. Like all other stuff, don't buy. It's a waste of time and money and everything. And it's the magic. I would call it like, um, I would say it like the. I want to say the 3 C's, but one of them is not a C, so it falls apart there. But it's at least caffeine, which is a great performance booster. You got to be careful though. Your body will get used to it. As a Swedish guy, I'm done, bro. It's in my blood. Like 50% caffeine in my blood, bro. So that's caffeine and creatine. Creatine is the most studied supplement out there. Like there's no supplement in the world that has more research than creatine. And creatine is something that we naturally produce in the body, but it's such a small amount that when you supplement it in your diet, it has shown great effects on performance in weightlifting. And it has really show that with creatine, you basically build 1 to 2 kilos of extra muscles per year. And for Americans out there, it's 2, 3, 4, 5 pounds per year, something like that. So 3 to 5 pounds per year of extra muscle mass if you do creatine. And obviously push yourself in the gym. Obviously, it's not like a steroid, it's going to grow. No. So that's the second one. And the third one is really not a supplement, it's protein, whey protein powder, because a lot of people struggle with getting a sufficient amount of protein. So that's often the first supplement I recommend them. The first supplement, because protein is such an important part of a lot of things in your body, especially building muscles, obviously. So that's all, that like only do these 3 things if you want to do it. Other than that, don't do any type of pills or nothing. Waste of money.
Would you say, because you've mentioned it a couple times, the fitness world today and where it's gotten to, in some ways it feels like it's gotten to a little bit of an extreme.
Yeah,
Would you say so? And do you think it's gotten a little, as we call today, toxic? Is there like a toxic fitness world today? Especially
definitely.
you were talking about the average age, which is shocking, of bodybuilders is 40 years old.
Yeah, I'm not sure about the accuracy of the exact number, but I've read multiple things, multiple reports. So it depends, obviously, right? And when talking about bodybuilders, obviously you look at those that compete on a professional level. Like it's a very selective few, right? It's not those like every gym goer. You're not a bodybuilder just because you go to the gym. When you talk about bodybuilder, we talk about professional bodybuilders. It's like you play football. Yeah, but you're not a football player, professional football player like, Ronaldo or something, right? Obviously. So I don't know, maybe you're really good at football. I know, I'm not sure, bro. I've been to
No,
Egypt, bro. They're amazing.
yeah, they
But
are.
yeah, bro, the kids
Sadly, the
in the
national
streets, bro.
team isn't. Yeah.
Yeah, almost time. So yes, to answer your question, What?
Dude, when people have religious reactions to things that are extremely like regular, like so simple is hilarious, bro. Like one time a kid like in our institute in Islamic school, a kid said a joke and someone goes subhanallah. I don't know, I just find that funny when someone says something like that. And it was
Alhamdulillah.
such a
Actually,
messed up joke too.
the thing like the reason is because I used to swear a lot. I had like in Sweden it's very common. Like everything is a swear word. Like you swear all the time. So the way I did to replace that was using religious stuff like Subhanallah, Astaghfirullah, Allah Akbar, Allah Musta'an. Yeah. So that's why
It's your new filler words.
it's my
Alhamdulillah,
filler
that's
word,
good.
bro.
That's a good filler word.
Yeah. So I would say yes, the fitness industry has gone mad. It's like a wellness hysteria. It's become a business, right? Never in history we've seen so many supplements being sold and so many, like it's a multi-billion-dollar industry. Like that should say enough. And I think it's been such a way that people are the industry keep people unhealthy, believing that they need the industry to become healthy. That's the weird thing, right? And I think not only that, I think the fitness industry is not like it's a bad place for a lot of people. It's very shallow, a lot of mental health issues. It's a lot of fitna, right? Showing your body. Like there's a lot of stuff going on there that I really dislike. So that's why I never like. It's always funny when people say, "Oh, you're such a fitness guy." I'm like, no, bro. I hate the fitness industry, to be honest. Like just because like I have a problem with people calling themselves personal trainers even. Like I rarely talk about myself being a personal trainer, right? I try to talk about myself just, as I am, because a personal training certificate, you can get it, bro. Like if you have a, couple dollars left, you can buy a certificate, get some, go through the weeks of education, which is really not education, and you're a personal trainer, certified personal trainer. The bar is so low, so and you get a lot of authority speaking about health when you're a personal trainer. So, a lot of personal trainers don't know what they're talking about, and they injure people more than they help people,
Yeah, and I
unfortunately.
was talking to Muslim Hub Club guy, Osama. I just had him on his episodes releasing this week. And one
Mashallah.
thing he said that shocked me was that he was talking to his friend and he recommended a sheikh, and his friend went to go listen to the sheikh and left. And he asked him why. What happened? Why'd you leave? He said, I couldn't listen to him, man. I couldn't listen to a guy with a belly, right? And I think that's a miscalculated way of judging someone because that's like looking at Elon Musk, who's not in the greatest shape ever, and he's talking to you about engineering and going, I can't listen to this guy. He's got a belly. I can't listen to him about engineering. Some people, their whole life isn't fitness. Some people don't have to work out. Some people are great in their avenue. And for example, Elon Musk is an incredible, brilliant engineer. For you to say, I'm not going to listen to Elon Musk because he's not in shape about engineering is such a miscalculated, construed way of understanding fitness and body health. And I think
Yeah.
that's happened recently with the new fitness and social media fad that's going on.
Yeah, I think I'm a little bit on the both sides here, to be honest, because I'm gonna like we all judge people in some way. Like if I meet a person, I'm gonna have a different way of looking at him, a different kind of perspective looking at him, if he is fit or if he's out of shape. Because as I said before, like the qualities of attaining something very valuable, such as, you know, health, for example, being fit. This is something that shows a lot of qualities in the person. Like he's disciplined, he has willpower, he's actually doing something consistently. So you can pick out a lot of traits from this. But yeah, I wouldn't go that far of you know, just saying that I won't listen to this person. like a sheikh with a big belly, I can still listen to the sheikh and learn about Islam. And hopefully I can talk with him so he can maybe learn a little bit about fitness and we can help each other, right?
Do you have anything else for us? Any final thoughts, words?
Yeah, it's been very nice. A lot of nice subjects, man. And I really liked and enjoyed this talk. It was very different from what I talk about. A lot of things. I got a chance to talk about Swedish meatballs, which is, you know, every Swedish guy's dream. You know, I'm done, bro. I'm done. But yeah, whenever you're heading to Dubai, let me know, man. We do a workout together and drink some coffee and eat meatballs.
No way. That would be awesome.
Yeah,
I listen, bro. In Egypt, since you lived there, there's something called the Uzuma Mrakbeya, right? Where someone invites you
right.
in at like 12 a.m., but they're really not inviting you in. So I'm American, bro. I don't believe in Uzuma Mrakbeya. I'm gonna come and I'll
Yeah,
show up, and
bro.
you'll be like, "Oh yeah, yeah, yeah." No, I was
No,
serious.
bro. No, bro. Ta'al. There's no SwedenGate. There's no such thing, bro. Just love, bro. Just
It's
love.
just the Dubai doors, no Sweden gate.
Yeah, bro. Come to Dubai, habibi.
Come to the. I leave you, Simon. Thank you, man. I
Habibi,
hope.
man.
Yeah, I'm glad you enjoyed. I hope you enjoyed.